Welcome back to another episode with Brother Neil Frazier in the house. He has a good weekly word to install into our subconscious and conscious minds, which will help us to be more aware in the shark-infested world that we're in, even though it's still a beautiful world when you look at the nature end of it. But the engineered world that we live in is full of artificial trolls and situations out here that we need to avoid, toxic people, situations that are not good for us and the health of our community. So, my dear brother, I'm here with you, and I'm going to open up the screen so you can begin. We had a little technological mishap early on, and we're here, and nothing's going to stop us. We're going to keep on putting it in until. So, brother, the floor is yours. I'm listening. Right, I got my pad.
Okay.
And say it again.
Greetings, Brother Lance. Yeah, we did have a little glitch there. It's almost like there's an entity that wants to block the message today. But I also recognize whenever we connect, the connection is so strong that the polarity is fighting hard to disconnect it at all costs. But nonetheless,
that's right.
The message that we have will go forward today to our family. I just want to say, Brother Lance, as always, I'm grateful for you and Mrs. SCURV for the work that you put in for the Black culture, the untiring sacrifice that you guys make, because without question, we would not be able to combat a lot of the weapons that are destroying our communities without you. So I always want to acknowledge you for that, brother. Also, I want to say greetings to the family. Monday is the highlight of my week. I apologize for, what happened earlier. Some things are outside of our control, but nonetheless, we're going to go ahead and cover the topic. And I just want to make a comment about the graphics that Lance, I tell you, that is you're always on topic. Like I said before, that there's some type of astral projection and connection that you make, because that picture.
I'll put it up for a second so they can see it. They just got in.
Okay. Totally defines the topic today. And as they say, a picture is worth 1,000 words. And we have to conceptualize, which people with the open pineal gland, when we see things like this, it absolutely resonates with our spirit, our mind, and our body. So we know that there is a polarity war that exists in our own community because of the frequency levels that we operate on, who we are, and why we must continue to be at the forefront of battling against those who are diametrically opposed to the Creator's laws. So today, we're going to talk about a very important subject, the psychosocial code words that must be eliminated and replaced in the Black culture. Not just eliminated, but they must be replaced in our culture. And I want to start out with a definition of the term psychosocial, pertaining to the influence of social factors on an individual's mind or behavior, and to the interrelation of behavioral and social factors. I apologize, I'm always out in nature, so it's a big park, but you'll hear a few things in the background, so I'll project my voice more. But I want to break down this term psychosocial. So the definition in the dictionary is pertaining to the influence of social factors on an individual's mind or behavior, and to the interrelation or the correlation between our behavioral and social factors. And this is extremely important for us because, again, I go back to Lance's pictures, that this law of polarity that exists in our community is very strong. In fact, these two ideologies have done more to split us apart than anything that I can think of. And there's a reason for that. This is not by chance. So I want to kind of give a simpler definition of the term psychosocial. Basically, what it's saying is that because we are influenced by social factors, that our minds and our behavior is all intertwined with these social factors. You can't get away from it unless you leave the planet. So it's very important that we identify some of these psychosocial factors. I've identified, I believe it's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 words that has a stronghold on our culture that we must begin to deal with right now. And I'll go through each one of these terms. I'll talk about the relevance of these terms from a social perspective, from a psychosocial perspective, and also what the replacement terminology means and how important that replacement terminology is to our people. Because we cannot continue to allow other people to give a narrative, and by the way, people who have never lived a day as a Black person, to give a truthful narrative. That's our job, of who we are, and to set the blueprint for generations of us, not just now, but coming behind us. So the very first word that I'm going to talk about is the word reparations. Lance, you did a great video on that. It's very disappointing, but in a way expected because of who and what we're dealing with. But I believe that more than anything else, this word needs to be replaced with the terminology Land Act. And after I read this study, you'll know exactly what I mean. But one of the reasons it has to be replaced from a psychosocial perspective is that whenever the culture that is opposed to us economically and in all of the 9 different areas of human activity, whenever they put this energy of hate into something that we are fighting for, then what happens is they take it from the social or the psychosocial realm to the political realm, politicizes it, and then injects this energy of hate into it. So it immediately becomes a battle cry against Black culture, regardless to what it's about. But we're going to find out today that this is unfounded. And we're going to explain to you why it's important that we must eliminate these terms out of the lexicon of Black linguistic culture. In this study, Dr. Dania Francis, who is a professor of economics at the University of Massachusetts at Boston, she was the lead author of this study. Now, people always say, well, you guys are always quoting these old studies and blah, blah. This study is only 7 years old, okay? 7 years old. And it is one of the best studies that I have seen regarding this subject in a long time. Because when you have people with a real conscience like this professor, regardless to what culture they come out of, if they have a conscience, then you can't overlook this. Okay, so she starts out by saying U.S. black farmers lost $325 billion worth of land in the 20th century. That's right. I didn't stutter. I didn't misquote. U.S. black farmers lost $325 billion worth of land in the 20th century. The study shows that this is the number one reason for the tremendous wealth gap in the United States. Now, again, they always put this guilt trip on black folks, saying we're victims or playing the victim card, or we're always whining about stuff or what have you. When the average white person if they don't know the whole story, they know a lot of the story. So it doesn't matter what you call us. These facts and statistics don't lie. So it also states in this study that African Americans, despite being 13% of the U.S. population, get this. I remember the first time Dr. Claude Anderson said this back when I saw him in Baltimore back in the early 80s. Despite being 13% of the U.S. population, own less than 1% of land in America. Okay, so we're talking since 1865, the eve of the Civil War, all the way now. We're talking about almost 200 years. So you can't say that somebody is playing a victim card when we have the proof right here by one of your own professors from one of your own prestigious universities. But yet when we say it, there's something wrong with it. Okay, so as I said before, I want everybody to sit down. Set your coffee down, because I don't want you to spill it on yourself when you hear the rest of the statistics of this study. The combined value of this land is $14 billion. In contrast, get this, white Americans, by comparison, own more than 98.5% of U.S. land. Okay, and this, you can go and look at the study yourself. This is not an exaggeration. 856 million acres. Let me say that again. 856 million acres with a total worth of over 1 trillion US dollars. So now, why are you calling people? And the other, the saddest part about this is they pay so-called educated black folks to make it seem like when we bring up these facts that we are whining or we are victim, this was taken from black people. We're talking about a tremendous amount of wealth that was created and stolen from black people. I don't know how any black person can get on tape. That's why I'm on tape today saying it. I don't know how any person that had a black mother and father, black siblings, grew up in a black culture, can deny this. I don't care how much money they pay you to say that. What is wrong with you? This is unprecedented. So this is why we need to change this terminology about reparations into the Land Act, because that's what it is. Black people this is rightfully owed to us. There shouldn't even be any argument about this at all. Okay? So when you see the tremendous disparity between, black culture and white culture, and why people look down on us and saying, well, why don't you have the opportunity? No. Give us back our land. Then we can talk. Okay? Now, I want to caution black folks about something, okay? Because I know you love fiat, which has no intrinsic value. You still don't know that yet. Okay. Yes, they have made it where we need this to operate off of. But you have got to wrap your head around something. That if you allow this type of wealth to be given to you in fiat, you're making the biggest mistake in world history. Now, I'm not saying there shouldn't be a check associated with it, but certainly the first thing on the table should be land. We know from the Homestead Act that this land was taken from black folks and given to Europeans that came to this country. We know this. This is, it may be a secret to a lot of people. It's not a secret to us who are in the know. So that's the first word we're going to deal with. Now, the next word is very important in regards to the psychosocial issues that we deal with as a people. They're spiritual people. I should say, they're religious people. Certainly, at the root, we're spiritual, even though it's been hijacked. That this word angels should be replaced with the word netaru. People who have studied you for thousands of years and that have taken these concepts and created a new narrative and then given it back to you know this, that the netaru were the first mention of any type of spiritual, not beings, spiritual connection to the divine law of oneness, which I like to call the cosmic consciousness, or some people refer to it as the Akashic or Akashic records, meaning the same thing, that all things, if you go all the way to the quantum level, are connected. Okay, this is the big thing that they are afraid of in terms of this artificial intelligence that they've created, that when it reaches singularity, we don't know what might happen. But when you go against the divine laws and principles of the creator spirit, there's no telling what might happen. As we can see now, one of the aspects of the netaru from our culture, the oldest culture in history, the first original linguistic concepts on the planet, Medu-Neter. The concept of the netaru was replaced with angels. Now, let me tell you what the issue is when it comes to that with black people and black culture, and why we must teach our children this. The concept of the netaru, that they were male and female twins, okay? There weren't no angelic beings, okay, coming down to exact justice on, you based on some feeling that the creator or creatrix has against you. Okay, this is hocus pocus stuff. We're talking about the netaru, and the concept of the netaru is that all things in nature has a feminine and masculine principle that is now under attack for a reason, and that these netaru are in all aspects of nature. There is no separation. There is no special phylum of beings or angelic beings. Okay, there is the connection of all of nature to you. With an open pineal gland, you have this ability to connect with this, but you refuse to do this. Okay, the other thing too about this is it also This is an important difference, by the way, between what you call angels and the Netaru, because your concept of angels is a separate phylum of beings, okay, that exists outside of nature, and that is not the original concepts that were given to our people, okay, that's based on our natural selves. This is a corruptive terminology that is used for a reason, for a purpose, that has had a tremendous impact on our people. Now, when you look at the Netaru and the concept of the Netaru, it also encompasses divine judgment and divine retribution. Okay, and this is why you see the Netaru in action today through nature. Okay, it's not going to be no angels coming down and it's going to be in nature like it is now. Okay, and like we've been saying, you will see. Okay, so when you separate yourself, you have given your power away already. When you separate yourself from the creator spirit to worship false gods, materialism, and all the things that come with fiat ideology, then you are doing this when you, the chosen one, okay, are supposed to set the standards of righteousness for the planet. Okay, so this is a very important terminology that we must begin to now interject into our culture, into our people, into our children, to know that they have the power to connect with all nature. They're not pigeonholed into a 90-degree way of existing in the world. This is what gets you in trouble. This is what causes this combustible behavior, because you have all of these senses that you're connected to, but you're trying to fit it into something that you have been told that your energy has to go through. The next word, I'm personally sensitive to, because I see how they're using this against our people. And again, you know, the real shame of this and the unfortunate part of this is that they have our own brothers and sisters out here. I don't know how much money they pay them to do this. I don't care how much money they gave me. I could never do this. But they take this word woke, okay, and just like the word reparations, when they interject this energy of hate against our people into this, then it takes on a whole new spirit and energy and frequency of its own. So what happens is, then they, like everything else, they flip it around. And again, incredibly, they have our own people out here attacking our people using these words that they have conjured up to degrade our people. But we need to replace, whenever they use this word, we need to replace it and clap back with first or third eye. It doesn't matter which one you use. I prefer first eye, because in actuality it's just that much of your first eye have been blocked, which can easily be resolved. Okay, but that's a topic for another time, because again, we've been indoctrinated that everything that came out of our ancient cultures and antiquity of our people is somehow demonic. You bought into that narrative. And anyway, the reason why we must interject this terminology and replace this word woke is because now, every other day, if I turn on the social media, I see this word. And every time they use this word, it's to attack our people in a negative way. Nothing ever about anything positive. which I don't expect. But the purpose of using first or third eye is that you reclaim the power of your open pineal gland. And you could go back and study. A lot of work has been done on this. I won't go through that today. But when you reclaim your natural power, then you will certainly comprehend and understand who you are. And while others fight so much to conceal who you are. Also, you connect immediately with the divine forces and elements in the universe. Again, the divine law of oneness, the first divine law, or the Akashic records, where we're all connected, where they have done a tremendous job separating us. And but that can be changed. It can be changed through the terminology that we use. Because, again, going back to the topic, the social factors and the psychosocial factors that influence us, I would say probably about 50% of it has to do with these words and the narratives that are used. And the only reason it's not higher because the majority of communication is nonverbal. Okay. So that's the only reason why I'd have to say it's about 40%. The rest is nonverbal. But in this nonverbal communication, it encompasses, okay, your subconscious mind, where the archetypes that have been established in the minds of Black children and Black adults who you were once children. Okay. Now, I want to explain what archetypes are. Archetypes is the definition that is given to the images and symbols of authority that exist in our subconscious mind from the time that we begin to interact with our environment, whether it's our immediate or outside environment. But nonetheless, this interaction is what produces this. Okay, so we also know that this terminology that they use, or this word, woke, is a term that subjugates you to the unnatural, unrighteous, unholy, artificial system of man. So we're starting to get a picture of why it's so important for, again, like Lance put on his banner, the power of life and death is in the tongue. True words have never been spoken, because we are literally dying and killing each other over these words, not just physically, but psychologically as well. Okay, the next word I took a long, hard look at, because I remember when this word first came out, this term, it was kind of something that people laughed at. It wasn't that serious. But then it turned, and that terminology is baby mama. Now it's baby mama drama. It's a negative image that's projected onto our people. Oh, but before I go into that, I wanted to wrap up this about this word woke. I wanted to say this, that why it's important that our subconscious mind and the archetypes and the symbols and images that authoritative figures to us, that we, whenever we make decisions, we look to these archetypes for direction. You may not even be aware of it. But according to Dr. Amos Wilson, brilliant Black psychologist, who did several books, but one, The Psychology of the Development of the Black Child, that, and I found this hard to believe at first, but now I tend to agree with him. that 99% of the archetypes in the subconscious mind of black folks are white. Now, that might be hard for a lot of people to accept, but this is a fact. Okay, this is a fact. I've been looking into this for a long time, and this is a fact. Okay, and this is at the root of a lot of this hatred and self-destruction that exists in our culture. This is at the root of this. Okay, so let's go back to this term, baby mama. As I said in the beginning, it was funny. I even remember jokes that they used to make about it. It's not funny anymore because, again, the entities that control this evil system and that have studied you for thousands of years are always looking for some type of energy, okay, to oppress you mentally and physically and spiritually. But this terminology needs to be replaced with mother of my children. What's wrong with you saying that's the mother of my children rather than saying that's my baby mama? I'll tell you what, it makes a tremendous difference. Do you know who it makes a difference to? To our boys and our girls, and also to you, to adults. Why? This negative term demonizes mostly black mothers who deserve our respect. Now, every single human being on this planet has an umbilical cord that was born through the natural process, unless you're not a human being, then I don't know what you are. I'm talking about human beings, natural persons, natural beings. You're disrespecting your own mom. If you got a sister, an auntie, or a daughter, you're doing the same thing. Every time you let these people or you disrespect our sisters, that's exactly what you're doing. Okay? And apparently without your knowledge. So this is why people laugh at us. Why in the world would people degrade their own mamas? Why would you do that? This makes no sense at all. So let's see, I wrote a couple other things about this. This is one of the major factors, in the toxic relationships between black men and women when they become adults. Why? Because black boys, when they grow up with this image of their mothers, then they will surely transfer onto the black women they establish relationships with this toxic ideology. That's why. So, can't get angry at the kids for something they learned from you. Because every time you use these terminology that these evil entities have taught you, then this is what happens. Our kids are regurgitating it, okay, and it's turned into baby mama drama. And the fact of the matter is, all people have issues. There's no difference between the drama of black women and the drama. Now, I want to rephrase that. The black women are the only women that have gone through the trauma. And I'm not gonna go over the rape and all the other stuff, but you know what I'm talking about. So I kind of try to cut our sisters a break sometimes, okay? Because we have a lot to do with that too, okay? It's just not one side of the story, okay? But certainly they do not deserve this derogatory term that is put on them as if they're a piece of trash, when we know these are the mother of our children. Not only that, the mother is the first nurturer of the child. So you're cutting your head off and then blaming other people for something you do. I have never seen, again, a Chinese people or Indian person call the mother of their children baby mama. I don't know, maybe you have. I've never seen it. But then we wonder why other cultures don't have the toxicity in their relationships that we experience. Because from the time that our kids can understand the English language, or whatever language they're learning, these words are ingrained in their subconscious about you. So this is something that we need to take a long, hard look at, okay? Because this has a devastating impact on the Black culture. And, you know, sometimes I cringe when I hear, you know, our people using these terms as if, you know, it's nothing to it. So apparently you need to understand how your own brain works and how your own mind and subconscious mind operates, and why the creatrix, creative spirit put that in you. Spend more time doing that than attacking each other. But this is at the root of the failure of Black relationships to blossom. The next word that I took a long, hard look at was the term we know is beautiful. Now, again, sometimes even unknowingly, I use this term, beautiful. But when you're talking about, yeah, it's okay to call our sisters queens, but you should use the terminology melanated queens, because that has a whole different significance than what you have been taught. Because anytime, again, 99% the archetypes in your subconscious, whether you know it or not, are white people. So immediately when you hear the term beautiful, then you're looking at the images and symbols that have been engraved and indoctrinated and brainwashed into you from the day that you could talk and hear and walk. And even before that, when it's because we know through the neuronic process that this is fed to the child in the womb. Because your image of the word beautiful has nothing to do with you. Nothing at all. That's why billion-dollar industries have been created off of our sisters trying to meet these standards. When you are the most natural, beautiful woman on the planet. So when you use this term beautiful, it needs to be replaced with melanated queens or princesses for our young sisters, for our girls. And this needs to be ingrained in them, because every time they see a movie, every time they see a magazine, every time they see a TV show, this image of beauty and this word is ingrained in their mind that has nothing to do with you or anybody that look like you. Now, when you use this terminology, it completely changes, as I said earlier, the psychological imagery and symbolism, and more importantly, the archetypes in your subconscious mind. And this is crucial to the psychological development of the Black child. I couldn't even tell you how crucial this is. The next word we're going to deal with is a word I have it just makes me sick. Literally, it does. It makes me sick. It's called rap or rappers. Okay? We need to replace this word every time you hear it with poison, garbage, or trash. Okay? Because this is the terminology that they have used, okay, to oppress the psychological development of our people. Now, I want to tell you why that is. Now, Black culture produce, we can go and look at the statistics, the most influential genre of music in the history of the world. But this genre was known as hip hop. Okay. But the people who have studied you again for thousands of years and know what you like and know the frequencies that you vibrate off of interjected this poison, this word, these terminologies, rappers, okay, to continue to oppress you. And they pay kids from poor communities millions of fiat that has no intrinsic value. I've showed you in the study. We own less than 1% of the land in this country, and land is the foundation of capitalism. I don't care how many new cars you buy or ride around in. So we need to get off this nonsense, and we are in a critical energy vortex right now. That I'll tell you what a judge told me one time. Ignorance of the law does not excuse you from the penalty of the law. Okay? And just because you're ignorant of what this system is doing to you doesn't mean you're not going to suffer the consequences of it. I don't know where you get that from. Okay? So you better start focusing on the things that we need to focus on, because a lot of things are getting ready to hit the fan right now. Okay? The time that we're living in, now that the Netaru has manifested, okay, and the divine retribution that is built into nature, that no man or woman can stop. You do not have the power to, and I remember one of the scriptures that my dad used to use all the time about evil people running to the hills trying to escape this. There is no escape for you. Why? Because unless you're going to live underground, you can't escape the ultimate retribution, which is the sun. That cannot be. I don't care how you try to block it. I don't care what you try to send up. Yeah, I don't care how much. What's the stuff they spray in the air? Chemtrails. I don't care how much of that. You do not have the power to stop this. You do not have the power to stop the power of the element, the Netaru of water. I don't care where you run to. I don't care how many buildings you run to, falling on your knees, worshiping false gods. No. See, the thing that Black folks need to recognize is, okay, if you don't come back to your senses and your natural self, you more than anybody else and our children are going to pay the heaviest price. You think it's going to be other people, but they're already preparing because they know this power. They got you respecting these false gods, which have no power. Okay. Right. Now, there are some scriptures that, mainly in the Old Testament, the ones that I pay attention to, but they were taken from our original concepts. But because Black folks, 90% of us, maybe higher than that, get all of our understanding and comprehension of the Creator's creative spirit from what you know as the scriptures. I'm going to use a story that I'm familiar with in the Old Testament about the prophet Elijah, when he called down fire. And the other false prophets, according to the story, and again, people get angry at me when I say this, but now these are allegories. These are based on mythologies that our people, came up with from observing nature. But nonetheless, they have tremendous relevance to our existence on the planet. That the false prophets of gods were pouring water, calling on these false gods, pouring water on the fire, trying to get this sacrifice. I believe it was. It's been a long time since I've read this story. But the bottom line is that you have the power to call down fire. You just don't know it. Okay? And the type of fire that you have the power to call down, okay, is here. And this is why you're manipulated and deceived and brainwashed so much. Because they know that game, set, match is over once you reconnect to this power and you walk away from these false gods. Now, you know, you can believe whatever you want. We know it's a supreme being. You can call it whatever you want, whatever religion. I don't get involved with that. Okay, I've already gotten to the point where I have a total comprehension of the creative spirit of the universe, and I don't have to follow man's way of defining it, his narrow way of defining it. So it's fine, whatever you want to believe, but you have to comprehend this, is that no matter what you do, it's time for you to stand up as the leaders of the planet. Although you have been subjugated, okay, underneath this system, that still doesn't change the fact of who you were created to be and who you are. It's just the fact of your refusal to accept who you are because you want to be like other people. You can have all the luxury you want if that's what makes you happy. But just understand that the day is going to come when they're going to pull the plug on that. And then what you're going to do? I mean, who are you going to go to? Black folks do not have a foundation anywhere. So what do you think is going to happen when they eventually pull the plug on you with this fiat? What do you think is going to happen? So let's move on from there. The last point I wanted to make about this is that this genre was known as hip-hop. And they changed the word and the energy, again, to rap and rappers, which is poison, garbage and trash. I don't care what you call it. Okay? Not only that, billions upon billions of dollars have been made in the music industry, not only in the music industry, but in fashion, in sports, in entertainment, in the gaming and video industries. And that's just to name a few. There are many, many more. But less than 3% of our people actually benefit from this in terms of any intrinsic value. They'll give you millions of dollars of fiat. Oh, yeah, for sure. As long as you're buying cars, as long as you're not building businesses, or long as you, I don't even. But the fact of the matter is that we've got to take a long, hard look at these issues that we're talking about today. And unfortunately for us, we Black people, this annual multi-billion-dollar hip-hop industry was targeted by evil forces who pay our poor kids millions of fiat to destroy their own culture. But yet we stand by and don't say anything about it. And then people get on these social media sites and all these other venues and degrade us based on how is it that these people became the voice of our community? How is that? Why are we not talking about, for instance, the 100 plus inventors who are Black? Why are we not highlighting these people? Why are we talking about these poison people, or this terrible 10th that I like to call them? Now, I want to be careful with something, because again, the majority of these guys and girls, or young men and women, are deliberately taken from poor cultures. So it's almost like setting a buffet between a homeless person who hasn't eaten in 2 weeks and telling them they have to fast. Okay. So, and I remember seeing one time when they were, which is, by the way, entrapment. I forget what department, police department was doing this, but they were laying on sidewalks pretending they were drunk or whatever and had hundreds of dollars hanging out of their pocket. And you'd be surprised at the people that came by and took the money. They didn't look anything like they needed any money. So you see, these narratives are painted, okay, to trick you. But I wanted to make that statement because, again, they take the kids from our poorest communities who want, it's human nature to want to escape the type of environments that most of us grow up in. Okay. And so they take all these factors and then they use it against you. And then they give our kids this fiat that they throw up in the air like it's some type of, I don't know. But again, it's up to us, those of us who are in the know, to now come out against this. The next terminology I want to deal with is called ghetto and hood. Now, this terminology must be replaced. I found a word that I feel that if we begin to use would take away the negative stigma attached to these words that they use for where Black people live, or where, a lot of Black people live. Ghetto and hood. And then they attach some badge of honor to this, okay, which we know the government created these places, okay, to continue to economically oppress our people. A good word that I came up with is dwelling. This is a dwelling place. You don't own it. You just dwell there. But when you start, when you start walking around talking, I'm from the hood. I grew up in the ghetto. So what? This is no badge of honor. You were rounded up like cattle, put in government housing and projects like on the East Coast. Okay, this is not something, this is twisted. This is not something that we should put some kind of badge of honor. And then you got people killing people to say they're from the hood and the ghetto. This is insane. And I'm speaking against this today. I don't care what you think about me, because I don't need you for that. But these evil people are destroying our children, and it's your fault. And you're the one that the first retribution is coming against. Okay, for sitting back and not saying nothing and agreeing with this. Okay. I mean, what are you so proud of growing up in a place that's like where animals are put in a stable or cattle are rounded up, when you are the original kings and queens and emperors and empresses using those terminologies of the planet, the students of the planet. And now you've been subjugated to glorify the most destructive dwelling place on the planet that you call a hood and a ghetto. I have to be careful when I'm dealing with this stuff too, because again, you know, our people have been beaten down a lot. You know, there's a tremendous amount. And all you have to think about is, why is it necessary to subjugate people who have afforded you the greatest wealth in the world? Why would you have to turn around and continue to beat them down? That in itself should tell you something. You gotta start thinking, man. But you're gonna start thinking soon. I guarantee you. You're gonna start thinking soon. Because when they pull the plug on you, then those of us that you have been saying that are conspiracy theorists or whatever you call it, people like Lance, or, you know, whatever you call it, you're going to find out that no, it's not that. These are things that have been hidden from you. And so why is it, the other thing about this, not only the 100 most influential Black inventors in American history, but there are hundreds of other slaves that invented or had the concept and ideology of inventions that did not get credit because they could not patent it. Their owners did. Why do we not talk about this? Why are the most poisoned, terrible tenth of our culture paraded before the world? Think about that. What type of evil-ish is this? And you know what I want to say. But more importantly, why is it necessary for these people who have everything, that's taken everything, that still deny you the right of what is rightfully yours? Why is it necessary to continue this? I'll let you figure that one out. But I made a note about these dwellings that, oh yeah, what's interesting, again, there are more poorer neighborhoods in America, okay, than Black neighborhoods that you don't see on TV, that do not carry the same stigma associated with these terms. Okay, so as soon as they use the term ghetto or hood, they immediately attribute this to Black folks. You ever wonder why that is? All right, so I have let's see, 1, 2, 3, just 4 more terms to go through real quickly. I want to address this place that you get a lot of your entertainment from. It's called Hollywood. Whenever we refer to this, we ought to refer to it as a death cult. Why? Because 90%, or even maybe 95% now, of what is produced in Hollywood, or the death cult, is centered around evil, death, and violence. And there's a cult of death associated with the energy vortex that knows no limits, that is driven by unnatural, unholy, and artificially generated energy. The other thing about this is that Black writers and producers cannot produce anything positive or uplifting about our great heritage and past without it being something associated with slavery. How do you think it feels? And why do you think people that come from other parts of the world only see blacks as slaves. Why do you think that is? I'm getting ready to tell you right now why it is. So whenever we refer to this place, okay, we should refer to it as a death cult, because that's exactly what it is. Now, one of the biggest psychosocial producers of black culture and the brainwashing of black people and all Americans, okay, is the movies. In fact, right now, on the most watched venue in media, Netflix is the #1 rated movie channel in the United States, probably in other countries too, because the majority of immigrants that are coming here grew up under the influence of Western culture. So we know what that means. I ain't even got to go into that. But the only thing that is produced about our culture, and when you watch Netflix or you go to the movies, the only thing that's produced about our culture is self-hate, drugs, violence, the degradation of the mother of our children, the degradation of black men. That's the only thing that's produced from that. As worthless, lazy, dependent. Whenever you watch any of these movies or Netflix or whatever you call it, or even on social, well, you know, I'll say in fairness to a lot of our brothers and sisters like Lance and you know, a lot more are fighting back, okay, which reduces the effect of the poison. Because, man, if you thought about what the effects of this poison would be without that, it's unbelievable. But Netflix is now the #1 movie channel that is watched in the United States. And like I said before, in the Western world, in other cultures who live according to the fiat, which has been destroyed. They already pulled the plug on them. This is a precursor to what I was talking about getting ready to happen here. But there's a plan. But the point I want to make about this is that in a lot of ways, you can't blame the people from the other countries, because all they see and all that's produced by the movies, on television, and social media about black culture is what I mentioned earlier. So, you know, and then many of them, you know, contrary to what you're shown here in the U.S., grew up around a lot of black people. Okay, a lot. Okay, or whatever you want to call them, Afro, whatever. They grew up around black folks. But the filth and the poison and the garbage that's deported from America to these countries precedes them before they even get here. Okay, so by the time they get here, this is the image that they have of black folks. And that's you know, that's around across the board. Because again, they're indoctrinated with this off of Netflix and the movies and social media long before they get here. You know, and even people from the motherland. I'm just totally shocked. they buy into this narrative as well. But one of the reasons that they want to destroy Africa and deport a lot of the poison that they're trying to send there is because I believe it's called Proposition 46. I believe it's that. But they do not want the truth to be known by people on the continent. They do not want the real truth to be known. And so they internalize it to a form of hate against their own people, simply because they also glorify this fiat here. And that's a subject for another. But you can't separate what's natural. So, you know, we love our brothers and sisters. We don't care what you say. There's nothing you can do with your artificial intelligence and your unnatural and unholy and filth and garbage that can ever change that. The last two terms that we must replace is artificial intelligence. And we must start using the terminology unnatural intelligence, because that's what it is. It's not natural intelligence. It's unnatural intelligence. And this is why they call it artificial. And what this does is this makes man a god to you with this God complex when you look at artificial intelligence. Okay? But now, the same people that have created this now fear it, okay? Because they have opened a Pandora's box and a power that they are unfamiliar with. It's like when they went in space, or not space, inner Earth orbit. Because nobody's been outside the Van Allen belt. I don't care what nobody say. You put anything that's a living organism in a microwave for 2 minutes and it'll explode. Okay? So, you know, but the Netaru that came to inner Earth orbit frightened them so much that there's no attempt to go back. But at the same time, our people are putting all of their hope into this artificial intelligence. Now, there's a lot of good, not a lot, but there is good that can be extracted from this. But like everything else, you have to extract, and nature teaches us this, the good, and eliminate. That's why your body your body takes the nutrients that it needs, and then it eliminates the rest. Okay? And this is what you need to do. You can't accept 100% of anything. And finally, we have to stop calling what you're eating food. It's not. Dead flesh and dead carcasses, it's not food. It's GMOs, it's inorganic, genetically modified, and its purpose is to kill you. Its purpose is for the pharmaceutical companies and the medical facilities to continue to get a enormous amount of fiat based on your illness. And with that, Brother Lance, I'm going to close.
Yes.
Yeah, I have a few things to do, but I wanted, after we had this entity trying to cut our link today, brother, I wanted to come back full force and let them know
That's right.
that they don't have the power we have. You can manipulate this artificial intelligence and do whatever you want, but it's not going to stop what we do. And
exactly.
As always, brother, I appreciate you. Words cannot express how grateful I am personally. I know all of the family have the same feeling for you and Mrs. SCURV. I don't care what nobody say. I can see with my own eyes and observe behavior. Okay. And before closing, I just wanted to share something with you and the family. That I set a goal for myself today, Monday, is 7 days sober. I haven't had any beer or wine. You know how much I like that. And
congratulations, brother.
Thank you, man. And you know, it's something that I wanted to do. I wanted to set. This was like one of the last things, and we're not perfect. I don't know why people always trying to act like they're perfect. We're not perfect, okay?
Right.
All of us have our faults and our shortcomings, but certainly as someone who's receiving divine energy, or, you know, connecting with nature, I cannot turn around and then be subjugated by the things that are being used by these forces that are oppressing us, and then say that I'm representing the creation experience. That is the biggest type of hypocrisy. So I came to grips with that with myself. Now, the thing about that is, now it's not to say that if I pass a place, I'm not going to have the urge for it. That is not what is important. What's important is,
but that's
real. That's right. I'm able now to say no. I defy you. I don't need that. And not only do I not need it, I'm going to show you that I don't need it. And so, you know, I'm very happy today about that, you know. And as always, there's a clapback from the spiritual world, in the law of polarity. Whenever you stand up for, you know, for natural things, you're going to have clapback.
Yes.
But, you know, like I hear you say all the time, I'm made for this. And those of us that are chosen, we must recognize who we are, why we are, and the great task set before us.
That's right.
Yeah.
But I want to say how much I appreciate you for sharing that with us, because it shows your desire for ascension, to get better, to allow those divine vibrations and downloads to come through stronger. You know, we're born almost, people say a clean slate, open mind, but lots of times we are like that faucet that's closed off, and we're trapped from the things in our environment. And the more and more we open that faucet and let the water flush on down into the sink, all of those things in the sink that are there as residue will disappear. So you're ascending. And many people listen to you from the previous shows and say, well, this man is literally perfect. It doesn't mean that you're not being perfected, but they will say. And so by you sharing this will give empowerment to other people who can say, oh man, not that they feel good that you had alcohol before, but now they say, wow, I may have had the same challenge. It might have been porn. It might have been gambling. It might have been not doing good with my finances. Wow, he had something to work on and he's conquering it. And that makes me feel good that I can pull this from hiding and say, let me focus on this and I can get better with each and every day. So I thank you for that. That is encouragement for all of us.
Yes,
you see what I mean? Because we're human and we're in this dark environment that attacks us physically, mentally, and spiritually in all kind of ways. And if you slip a little bit, it makes you feel so guilty and they want you to give up on who you are supposed to be. No, keep on ascending. When you get knocked down, get back up. That makes it better.
That's
because
and you know,
your spirit is not
too is you can't call yourself metamorphosis but still exhibiting caterpillar behavior. You know, walking around talking about you had a cocoon experience and then go somewhere and get drunk. You know, the two just don't go hand in hand, brother. They just don't. They don't. I don't care how you try to slice
Thank you, man.
They just don't. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
All right, so brother Lance.
Thank you, man.
Until the next time we're connected, my brother, stay strong and keep pushing.
Oh, yeah. You know that. No matter what, we're going to keep on pushing.
I know that.
Keep on throwing punches. Keep on chopping down that tree of unrighteousness to chop that. Exactly. That's how I think. Put your head in the opponent's chest and come with them punches. Because you know when your head is in somebody's chest, it's hard to hit you in the head. That's one of my tricks. But anyway, exactly. Love it. Keep fighting, brother. So I will talk to you soon, and just let me know when you're ready for the next episode. No matter what, brother, we here. I love it. The weeks are piling up, brother. Week after week, combination after combination, until we topple this thing down. So you have a wonderful evening. I know you're 7 hours behind me. I see all that good sunlight. I'm in darkness right now. You know, the sun went down, but it doesn't matter. We're one community that we find ourselves on this earth. And I thank you for your knowledge. So you have a thank you, man. Peace and love and light to you, brother. All right.
All right.
Thank you, brother. All right. Peace. All right. Much love. Yes, everyone. Yes, that was another one, and another one, and another one. That's how we do. And I'm so glad. That was really edifying. And that's to show you that no matter where you find yourself, you can go higher. And I appreciate him for allowing us to, understand what challenges he's had. And we all have challenges, and whatever it is that anybody tries to ridicule you about or say you'll never stop doing or you'll never get away from, from maybe a mere substance or to a whole dysfunctional toxic relationship, you can rise above that. Me, myself, I'm proof positive of that. There are people that I know that said, man, from sometimes in your 20s, man, up until that point, you've been through so much. I would have been crazy by then. I'm still here at 60. Been through a whole lot more after that. And I'm still here because I know there's life beyond whatever it is that I'm going through. You got to understand that. Like I always say, and I'm going to say it again. You got a cloudy day over you. Don't feel like there's no sun. The sun is still behind the clouds. When those clouds part eventually, sometimes soon, sometimes for days, the sky's overcast. But once it breaks and the clouds part, the sun has rays just for you on your body yourself, just for you. Not that the sun is shining. Yeah, it shines on everybody, but it has rays that are just for you. So you got to understand that. Me, myself, I'm looking forward to many realities ahead of me, many experiences ahead of me, meeting many wonderful people face to face, even who's here when I come back and visit. So I'm looking forward to those things. So no matter where you find yourself, if it's a hole or a ditch that you found yourself, you can always look up. And if you can look up, you can get out of it. You can ascend from that. And most of the stuff that, I've been through, they're distant memories. Now I said, man, I went through that. Wow. That was a long time ago. I don't even feel it no more. Because emotionally, when you feel things, man, it feels so strong on you. Like I'm never coming out of this. This thing is going to sting me. Like, okay, you got financial issues. You got breakups. I'm not saying you have these. I'm just saying in life, these things will happen. A loved one will transition and you feel the void of it. I mean, and we can have multiple things on us. So we look out into the world and social media, we walk in the mall, everybody's smiling and dressed up nice, shaking car keys to sometimes a car that they don't even have, shaking Mercedes-Benz and BMW car keys, and they took the bus or the train. Nothing's wrong with the bus or the train, but most of us work so hard to look like the real thing instead of being the real thing and looking within ourselves to correct these things and face it. So many people out in the world act strong and want to be condescending to you. Mind you, I said act strong and want to throw off on you. And some of those people are the ones who have the most issues that they're running away from, as opposed to somebody who may appear weak, but they're really strong because they can look inside and say, you know what? Damn it. I'm sick of carrying this weight. I'm sick of indulging in this activity. I'm going to turn around and get rid of it. I know what it's like, and it's blocking me. It's stopping me. It's lowering my vibration. So I'm going to deal with this thing now. Even if it's something you deal with personally, pull it out and look at it and face it. And it may not be something you knock out one time in the first round. It sometimes takes years, hopefully not. But it's not going to be an overnight thing where you snap your finger and all of a sudden you brand new. That's one of the lures of the church. Oh, you're saved now and everything's good. And you still go home and do what it is that you've always been doing and go back and get saved again and again and again. No, forget the thing about being saved. Go and look within yourself and save yourself and work on yourself. and clear that thing out from yourself, because some strange man tapping you on the head and saying you saved and collecting tithes, he don't give a damn about you. You got to deal with you, because you're the person and the only person in your whole life who is going to be with you every second of your life. You are with you the moment you were born. You are with you the moment you came out to breathe air. You are with you through every embarrassing moment, every victory, every tribulation and trial. You are there. We talk about, oh God, I'm scared of death. You will be there when you realize that you are transitioning. So it's not death. Death is living with these things that we have inside of us that we don't want to deal with, that clog our filters from enjoying life. I can tell you anything about myself that I've been through. Anything and everything. You ask me, I'll tell you. Have you been in this situation? Yeah, I was in this situation. It doesn't hold me anymore because I'm not trying to hide it. I got rid of it. It's out in the open. Maybe not everything that you may know, but it's been out in the open with other people. And if you have any issues and want to talk to me, fine, give me a call. We'll talk. And I'm going to keep it real. But there's no way, if I can do it, you can do it. That's the bottom line. But anyway, just know that I love you all. And I'm going to sign off right now. We have Positively Angela. In less than 2 hours, I have to call her and get the link to set it up. If you don't see the link, don't worry. I'll blast it out there. But it's been a pleasure as always. And Brother Neil Frazier always has me fired up. And everybody in the chat room, I like to be quiet when he's doing his thing. Let him flow. But I acknowledge everybody who's here. And hopefully you'll come back to that show. And I'll record some things and do some lives and stuff. But y'all know I'm hard at work on so many fronts right now. But I think I'm doing all right to keep certain things up. So, yes, it's all love. Look forward to being better tomorrow than you are today in so many different areas, but you have to identify what it is first. A mechanic cannot fix a vehicle unless he puts it on the machine or knows it from sight or sound to know what it is to go in and repair. If we don't acknowledge what's damaged with us, but the damage is not us, we hold on to it. We feel bad because we've been through certain things and we say, oh, no, I'm a bad goods. I'm damaged goods. No, that damage is not you. You can repair it, but it's for you to repair because you know what the heck it is. Stop hiding it. You don't have to get with a bullhorn and put it out in the world, but you talk to yourself because we're the best ones that can lie to ourselves. I'm not saying you are personally who's listening, but some of us do. I've lied to myself about a whole lot of things in this lifetime, but that's why I can talk the way I do because I've been through stuff. And still got things to pull out and work on. So please hold my hand and help me and do this with me because you're not alone. We'll do this together. Much love. We'll see you at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Positively Angela's show. And I'll be right there again together. I need a shower. My nose is insulted, so I got to get clean. Love you all. I'll see you all in a little while. Peace.
Why are we called Negroes? Why are we deaf, dumb, and blind? Why is everybody making progress, yet seem to be lagging so far behind? Why are we mistreated? Why are we in this condition, stripped of our language, our culture, our God, and our religion? Here in America, all of our religious training has been gotten by the preacher. He has told us of a heaven way up in the sky that we can't enjoy now, but rather after we die. But all of the years that we're living, for us there's nothing but hell, pain, torture, and misgiving. Yet the Bible speaks of a heaven filled with material luxury, which the white man and the preacher has right here, so we see. So my friend, take it for what it's worth. Your heaven and your hell is right here on this earth. So let's check back into history, which rewards all research and tells us plainly. Before the white man gained entry to the East, he was living in the caves of Europe, a ravenous beast, eating juniper roots and eating flesh raw, till God sent Moses to civilize him and teach him the law. Then following Marco Polo, an explorer, he gained entry into Asia and Africa. From China he took silk and gunpowder. From India he took jute, manganese and rubber. He raped Africa of her diamonds and her gold. From the Mideast he took barrels of oil untold. Raping, robbing and murdering everything in his path. The whole black world has tasted of the white man's wrath. So my friend, it's not hard to tell. A white man's heaven is a black man's hell. Before we came to America, we were living in the East. By the Nile River, we were living in luxury, enjoying freedom, justice, and equality. We wore silken robes and slippers of gold. We were the wealthiest and the wisest people, I'm told. Now we are the poorest of the poor. Nobody wants us at their door. So my friend, it's easy to tell. White man heaven, black man hell. When the white man came to America, he told the Indian, I am your white brother. He said, red man, I'll treat you the best. Yet and still he pushed the Indian further west with his white woman and fire water. With tricks and lies he stole America. The original owner of this nation is cooped up on a reservation. So my friend, it's easy to tell. White man heaven is black man hell. He needed someone to work the land. His back was too weak. He needed you, black man, so he commissioned Sir John Hawkins to commit the world's most grievous sin, to take a man who's born to be free and bring him down to slavery, to sell a man as merchandise, on his body put a price. Oh, my friend, it's easy to tell. White man heaven is black man hell. John Hawkins showed up in our country, telling us of a land filled with luxury. He said, black man, follow me to America. There you'll find more gold for your labor. Our foreparents were tricked onto his boat. Since that time we've been wrestling with the gold. We landed here in Jamestown, Virginia, 400 years to suffer. So my friend, it's easy to tell, white man heaven is black man hell. When the slave master wanted to have some sport, he would heap on our parents cruelties of the worst sort. Burn them at stake, hang them on trees. His ears were deaf to our parents' pleas. Though you a pregnant black woman, you pull the plow. Like a horse, like a dog, even a cow. He filled your womb with his wicked seed. His half-white children you were made to breed. Oh, my friend, it's easy to tell, white man heaven is a black man hell. So-called Negro, open up your eyes. Black man everywhere is on the rise. He has kicked the white man out of Asia, and he's going fast out of Africa. With every ounce of strength and breath, his cry is give us liberty or give us death. The whole black world has their eyes on you to see what the so-called Negro is going to do. So my friend, it's easy to tell, our unity will give the white man hell. God made a promise to Abraham. His seed would be a stranger in a foreign land. They would suffer and be afflicted 400 years, but he would come and wipe away their tears. Our God and Savior, Allah has come. He has declared the white man's day is done. He has given us a divine messenger, one prophesied to come. His name is Elijah. We now can stand up, the whole world to tell. Our God has come to give us heaven and take the devil into hell.
Hey, this is Oscar the Lawyer. You're listening to the LANCESCURV Show.
For the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world, ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
'Cause it's a war on the real, baby, look outside. A war on the real, baby, look out. 'Cause it's a war on the real, baby, look outside. A war on the real, baby, look out. 'Cause it's a war on the real, baby, look out.